The entertainment event of the year has arrived. No, I'm not talking about the Super Bowl. I'm talking about the RFK Jr. confirmation hearing. In the clown show to end all clown shows, RFK Jr. was exposed as the village idiot in the Kennedy compound. His own cousin finally broke her silence to tell the Senate, this guy is certifiably insane. Now, the amazing thing about this confirmation is not just Democratic senators ripping him to shreds, but also watching the tables get turned on him. So stay until the end and watch Senator Maggie Hassan from New Hampshire really throw the curveball at Kennedy. But first, Ron Wyden exposed him as not only a conspiracy theorist, but a scam artist on top of it. Because really, what's the point of being a conspiracy theorist if you're not going to make money off suckers, right?
You made almost $5 million from book deals, mostly promoting junk science. In 2021, in a book called The Measles Book, you wrote that parents had been, quote, misled into believing that measles is a deadly disease and that measles vaccines are necessary, safe, and effective. The reality is measles are in fact deadly and highly contagious, something that you should have learned after your lies contributed to the deaths of 83 people, most of them children, in a measles outbreak in Samoa. So my question here is, Mr. Kennedy, is measles deadly, yes or no?
Then Senator Michael Bennet of Colorado went after Kennedy for some of the crazy stuff he's said.
Hear it, Mr. Kennedy. I want them to hear it. You said yes. Did you say that exposure to pesticides causes children to become transgender?
No, I never said that.
Okay, I have the record that I'll give to the chairman, and he can make his judgment.
Now look, we all think pesticides are bad, but really, pesticides causing transgender? How wacky can you get? Or is Kennedy actually too shrewd for any of us to pick up on? Maybe he's trying to drive up the market on organic fruits and vegetables by making right-wing Christians buy organic. Now that is playing three-dimensional chess. But Bennett wasn't done. Watch him go after Kennedy for what he said about COVID.
I tried to ask these in a manner that's faithful to what you actually said, because I didn't want to have a debate about whether you actually said them. So I'm asking you yes or no, Mr. Kennedy. Did you say that COVID-19 was a genetically engineered bioweapon that targets black and white people, but spared Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese people?
I didn't say it was deliberately targeted. I just quoted an NIH-funded and NIH published study.
Did you say that it targets black and white people but spared Ashkenazi Jews?
I quoted a study, Your Honor. I quoted an NIH study that showed that
I'll take that as
certain
yes.
races
I have to move on, I have to move on.
Now, you can call me wrong, but when a person is quoting someone, they are saying it. Now, sure, you can quote someone for the specific purpose of refuting what they said, but that's not what Kennedy did. He quoted a conspiracy theory, and now he's backpedaling so fast that if it were an Olympic sport, he'd still be crazy. And speaking of sports, calling out Kennedy for being a fraud, a conspiracy theorist, and an anti-vaxxer is a little like taking candy from a baby. Only let's face it, babies have more integrity. So the senator that really took a different approach and turned the tables on both Kennedy and Republican senators was Democratic Senator Maggie Hassan.
Now, let's go to something we agree upon. I am really heartened to see that one area where we agree on is on women's reproductive freedom. In your own words, it's not the government's place to tell people what to do with their bodies. You said that, correct? Yep. Mr. Kennedy, in 2023, you came to New Hampshire and said, quote, I'm pro-choice. I don't think the government has any business telling people what they can or cannot do with their body. So you said that, right?
Yes.
Yep. But you also said we need to trust the women to make that choice because I don't trust government to make any choices. You said that too, right?
Yes.
It is remarkable that you have such a long record of fighting for women's reproductive freedom, and really great that my Republican colleagues are so open to voting for a pro-choice HHS secretary.
Yeah, it's going to be fun now watching Republican senators have to face their pro-life, except for capital punishment and giving kids free breakfast and lunch in public schools, constituents. The pro-life crowd is a take-no-prisoners organization. Indeed, they are pro-death penalty. That's what makes them pro-life. Now, however, they have to explain to their voters why they just backed a pro-choice nutcase to be in charge of national health. Democrats need to follow up on Hassan's lead. Don't emphasize his hypocrisy. Emphasize what a lifelong supporter he has been. Crazy as a fruitcake, doesn't share your values. What's not to love, Republicans? I'm Anthony Vincent Gallo for Occupy Democrats.